Caveat.
Caveat.
She will be offered treatment with the caveat that it may not work. She will be offered treatment with the caveat that it may not work. She will be offered treatment with the caveat that it may not work.
Caveat emptor.
Caveat emptor.
Cave in.
Cave in.
Caveman.
Caveman.
Are you going to give me the macho caveman act?
Caver.
Caver.
Cavern.
Cavern.
Cavernous.
Cavernous.
A cavernous dining hall.
Caviar.
Caviar.
Caviar and champagne.
Cavil.
Cavil.
They cavilled at our calculations. They cavilled at our calculations.
Caving.
Caving.
Cavity.
Cavity.
Put herbs inside the body cavity of the fish. I have no cavities. Cavity wall.
Cavity wall.
Cavity wall insulation.
Cavort.
Cavort.
She cavorted about in the water. The photograph shows him cavorting with two young women.
Core.
Caw.
Key.
Key.
Cayenne pepper.
Cayenne pepper.
Cayman.
Cayman.
CB.
CB.
CBE.
CBE.
The CBI. The CBI.
CBT.
CBT.
CBT software.
CC.
CC.
To Neil Fry, CC, Anthea Baker, Matt Fox.
A 200cc engine.
CCTV.
CCTV.
CD.
CD.
C difficile.
C difficile.
CD player.
CD player.
CDR.
CDR.
CD-ROM.
CD-ROM.
CDRW.
CDRW.
CDT.
CDT.
CE.
CE.
Cease.
Cease.
He ceased to be a member of the association.
The things people will do for charity never cease to amaze me.
The decision to cease using CFCs in packaging.
The rain ceased and the sky cleared.
The company ceased production at their Norwich plant last year.
Ceasefire.
Ceasefire.
A ceasefire agreement. They have called a temporary ceasefire in the region.
Ceaseless.
Ceaseless.
The ceaseless fight against crime.
The men worked ceaselessly through the night.
Cedar.
Cedar.
Seed.
Seed.
Hong Kong was ceded to Britain in 1842.
Cedilla.
Cedilla.
Cayley.
Kaylee.
Ceiling.
Ceiling.
Rooms with high ceilings.
A light hanging from the ceiling.
A public spending ceiling of £240 billion.
The government imposed a ceiling on imports of foreign cars. The government imposed a ceiling on imports of foreign cars.
Celeb.
Celeb.
TV celebs.
Celebrant.
Celebrant.
Celebrate.
Celebrate.
It's Dad's birthday, and we're going out for a meal to celebrate. My folks are celebrating their 50th anniversary.
We hope to give fans something to celebrate this season.
How do you usually celebrate New Year?
Poems that celebrate the joys of love.
Celebrated.
Celebrated.
A celebrated actress.
A celebrated legal case.
Celebration.
Celebration.
The lively New Year celebrations in the city centre.
A reception in celebration of the fund's 70th anniversary.
The show is a celebration of new young talent.
I think this is a cause for celebration.
Celebratory.
Celebratory.
Join us for a celebratory drink in the bar.
Celebrity.
Celebrity.
A sporting celebrity.
He's a national celebrity. We invited a number of minor celebrities.
Celeriac.
Celeriac.
Celery.
Celery.
A stick of celery. Celestial.
Celestial.
Celibate.
Celibate.
Catholic priests are required to be celibate.
A vow of celibacy.
Cell.
Cell.
Red blood cells.
Cancer cells.
Embryos grow by cell division.
He spent a night in the cells at the local police station.
The walls of his prison cell.
Call me on my cell if you're running late.
A car powered by electric fuel cells.
A terrorist cell.
The cells of a honeycomb.
Cellar.
Cellar.
A coal cellar.
Cellist.
Cellist.
Cellmate.
Cellmate.
Cello.
Cello.
Cellophane.
Cellophane.
Cell phone.
Cell phone.
Cell tower. Cell tower.
Cellular.
Cellular.
A cellular network.
Cellular phone.
Cellular phone.
Cellulite.
Cellulite.
Celluloid.
Celluloid.
Chaplin's comic genius is preserved on celluloid. Cellulose.
Cellulose.
Celsius.
Celsius.
12 degrees Celsius.
Celt.
Celt.
Celtic.
Celtic.
Cement.
Cement.
A bag of cement. They want to cement a good working relationship between the government and trade unions.
Cement mixer.
Cement mixer.
Cemetery.
Cemetery.
Cenotaph. Cenotaph.
Censor.
Censor.
The information given to the press was carefully censored by the Ministry of Defence.
Censorious.
Censorious.
His tone was censorious.
Censorship.
Censorship.
Censorship of books.
Censure.
Censure.
A vote of censure.
He was officially censured for his handling of the situation.
Census.
Census.
A traffic census. Cent.
Cent.
Centaur.
Centaur.
Centenarian.
Centenarian.
Centenary.
A concert to mark the centenary of the composer's birth.
Centre.
Center.
Centi.
Center.
A centipede.
A centimetre.
Centigrade.
Centigrade.
Centiliter.
Centiliter.
Centime.
Centime.
Centimetre.
Centimeter.
Centipede.
Centipede.
Central.
Central.
He lives in central London.
The roof is supported by a central column.
The party's central office.
The system's central control unit.
Central planning.
Values which are central to our society. Values which are central to our society. Owen played a central role in the negotiations. His ideas were of central importance in the development of the theory. Education has become a central issue in public debate.
It's very central. Just 5 minutes walk from the main square.
Our office is centrally situated.
All data is held centrally.
Central. Central. It was Mosquito Central down by the river.
In the 1990s, London's Docklands became Yuppie Central.
Central Bank.
Central Bank.
Central Casting. Central Casting. Wearing black shoes and a pinstripe suit, he looked like Central Casting's idea of the perfect civil servant. Wearing black shoes and a pinstripe suit, he looked like Central Casting's idea of the perfect civil servant.
Central Government.
Central government.
Central heating.
Central heating.
The central heating boiler. Centralism.
Centralism.
Centralize.
Centralize.
Plans to centralize the company's US activities.
A centralized database.
Central locking.
Central locking.
Central nervous system.
Central nervous system.
Central processing unit.
Central processing unit.
Central reservation.
Central reservation.
Center.
Center.
There was an enormous oak table in the center of the room.
The hotel is right in the centre of the village.
Draw a line through the centre of the circle.
Lines radiating out from the centre.
Draw a line through the centre of the circle. Chocolates with soft centres.
The European Centre for Nuclear Research. An exhibition at the Community Arts Centre.
A conference centre. A major banking centre.
It's not exactly a cultural center like Paris.
The city became a centre for the paper industry.
A center of academic excellence.
Shops in the town centre.
The main route into Leeds city centre. He always seems to be at the centre of things. The businessman at the centre of the row over political donations. The businessman at the centre of the row over political donations.
Betty just loves being the centre of attention.
After his father's death, he was able to rise to power and take centre stage.
The party's new policies show a swing towards the centre. Her political views are slightly left of centre.
A centre-left government.
The Sonic 6'4" center.
Nuclear installations are built well away from the main centres of population.
The title isn't quite centred on the page, is it? In the 16th century, village life centred around religion. The debate centred on funding for health services. Much of their work is centred on local development projects.
Centered.
Centered.
A student-centred approach.
Family-centered care.
Julia seems very centred nowadays.
Centerfold.
Centerfold.
Centre forward. Centre forward.
Center of gravity.
Center of gravity.
Centerpiece.
Centerpiece.
The centrepiece of Bevan's policy was the National Health Service.
Centric.
Centric.
Malicentric.
Centrifugal force.
Centrifugal force.
Centrifuge.
Centrifuge.
Centripetal force.
Centripetal force.
Centrist.
Centrist.
Centurion.
Centurion.
Century.
Century.
The church was built in the 13th century. By the beginning of the next century.
The story of life on a small farm at the turn of the century.
Many centuries ago.
CEO.
CEO.
Cephalopod. Cephalopod.
Ceramics.
Ceramics.
An exhibition of ceramics.
Ceramic tiles. Cereal.
Cereal.
A bowl of breakfast cereal.
Cereal crops.
Cerebellum.
Cerebellum.
Cerebral.
Cerebral.
A cerebral hemorrhage.
A cerebral film.
Cerebral palsy.
Cerebral palsy.
Ceremonial.
Ceremonial.
The mayor's ceremonial duties. Native American ceremonial robes.
The largely ceremonial post of president.
An occasion for public ceremonial.
Ceremonious.
Ceremonious.
He ceremoniously burnt the offending documents.
Ceremony.
Ceremony.
A wedding ceremony. The opening ceremony of the Olympic Games.
The Queen was crowned with due ceremony. He wished me good luck in the future and left without further ceremony.
Cerise.
Cerise.
Cert.
Cert.
Put your money on Thorpe to win, he's a dead cert.
Certain.
Certain.
I'm absolutely certain that I left the keys in the kitchen.
I felt certain that I'd passed the test.
I'm not certain when it will be ready.
Now, are you certain about that?
They were watching him. He was certain of it. It now seems certain that there will be an election in May.
Many people look certain to lose their jobs. It is wise to apply early to be certain of obtaining a place. It's not certain where he lived.
His re-election was considered virtually certain. It is by no means certain that the deal will be accepted.
If they stayed in the war zone, they would face certain death.
We need to make certain that it's going to fit first.
Secure the edges firmly to make certain that no moisture can get in.
I know for certain it's in here somewhere. One thing's for certain. He won't be back.
The library's only open at certain times of day.
I promised to be in a certain place by lunchtime.
There are certain things I just can't discuss with my mother.
The expectation of a certain kind of behavior.
Extra funding may be available in certain circumstances.
You may need to do a certain amount of work in the evenings. I do agree with his ideas to a certain extent.
There's a certain prestige about going to a private school.
A certain Mr. Franks.
Certain of the payments were made on Mr. Maxwell's authority.
Certainly.
Certainly.
I certainly never expected to become a writer.
They're certainly not mine.
It is certainly true that there are more courses on offer.
The girl was almost certainly murdered.
Not smoking has made a real difference. It most certainly...
I'd like a beer, please. Certainly, sir.
Can I come along? Certainly. May I go? Certainly not.
Certainty.
Certainty.
She knew with absolute certainty that he'd say no. The result is impossible to predict with any degree of certainty.
The certainty of being caught.
There's no certainty that he'll remember.
He usually does quite well, but it's not a certainty.
The only certainty is that there will need to be major changes. Certifiable.
Certifiable.
If you ask me, that man is certifiable.
The guy's a certifiable megastar. Grade A certifiable beef.
Certificate.
Certificate.
A degree certificate.
Certificated.
Certificated.
A certificated nurse.
Certification.
Certification. We successfully completed the certification for open water diving. Certification of competence.
Certified male.
Certified male.
Certified public accountant.
Certified public accountant.
Certify.
Certify.
The accounts were certified by an auditor. We need to certify that the repairs have been satisfactorily carried out.
The driver was certified dead at the scene. She was certified as a teacher in 1990.
Certitude.
Certitude.
Cerulean.
Cerulean.
Cervical.
Cervical.
Cervical vertebrae. Cervical cancer.
Cervical smear.
Cervical smear.
Cervix.
Cervix.
Caesarean.
Caesarean.
Cesium.
Cesium.
Cessation.
Cessation.
A cessation of hostilities.
Session.
Session.
Spanish cession of the territory in 1818.
Cesspit.
Cesspit.
For weeks the affair threatened to be a cesspit of scandal.
Citation.
Citation.
Ceviche. Ceviche.
CFC.
CFC.
CGI.
CGI.
The movie is an epic fantasy full of CGI.
Cha-cha.
Cha-cha.
Chador.
Chador.
Chafe.
Chafe.
Wear a t-shirt under your wetsuit to stop it chafing.
Some hunters are chafing under the new restrictions.
Chaff.
Chaff.
Chaffinch.
Chaffinch.
Chagrin.
Chagrin.
Much to her chagrin, I got the job. Dale was chagrined that he wasn't impressed.
Chai.
Chai.
Chain.
Chain.
She had a gold chain around her neck. A length of heavy chain.
The mayor's chain of office.
The chain of events that led to World War I.
The salesmen are just one link in the chain of distribution.
A rather complicated chain of reasoning. A chain of restaurants.
Several major UK supermarket chains.
The Andean mountain chain.
A chain of amino acids.
They formed a human chain to move the equipment. Daisy chains. He was led away in chains.
A bicycle chained to the fence.
4 activists chained themselves to the gates.
The elephants were chained up by their legs.
Their hands and feet were chained together.
She felt chained to the kitchen sink. I don't want a job where I'm chained to a desk all day.
Chain gang.
Chain gang.
Chain letter.
Chain letter.
Chain link fence.
Chain link fence.
Chain mail.
Chain mail.
Chain of command.
Chain of command.
Simmons is third in the chain of command.
Chain reaction.
Chain reaction.
A sudden drop on Wall Street can set off a chain reaction in other financial markets.
Chainsaw.
Chainsaw.
Chain smoke.
Chain smoke.
Chain stitch.
Chain stitch.
Chain store.
Chain store.
Chair.
Chair.
A kitchen chair.
They bought a new table and chairs. One of the chair legs was broken. She was sitting on a wooden chair. He sat back in his chair.
Address your questions to the chair, please.
Who will be in the chair at tomorrow's meeting?
He was nominated as chair of the Board of Governors.
A new chair of medicine.
The inquiry was chaired by a judge.
Chairlift.
Chairlift.
Chairman.
Chairman.
Potts was appointed chairman of the Education Committee.
Barrett serves as vice chairman.
The chairman of British Aerospace. Williams has been chairman of the board for 5 years.
Chairmanship.
Chairmanship.
A committee was set up under the chairmanship of Edmund Compton.
Chairperson.
Chairperson.
Chairwoman.
Chaise longue.
Chaise longue.
Chakra.
Chakra.
Chalet.
Chalet.
Chalice.
Chalice.
Chalk.
Chalk.
Chalk cliffs.
A box of coloured chalks.
A piece of chalk.
Writing in chalk on the blackboard.
The two brothers are as different as chalk and cheese. They're like chalk and cheese, those two.
Seattle chalked up another win last night over Denver.
You can chalk the drinks up to my account.